Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite binge-worthy romance series, so let's just get right into it. So the first series that I personally really fell in love with when it comes to romance reads was the After series by Todd. I know this one is like super, not like controversial, but like I feel like a lot of people really hate it and a lot of people really love it. And then there's the whole thing with the movies of like some people like the movies, some don't. I personally really liked the books the first time I read them. I'm gonna be honest and say that those were like the first contemporary romance books I ever read, so that probably played a role in that. I don't know that I would love them as much if I went back and read them now, but they definitely hold a special place in my heart for sort of getting me into the genre. And there's like so many of them and they're so thick. Like there's literally, I know After We Fell was like 830 pages because it was my longest book on GoodReads last year. But like they're literally so long and you can go through them so fast, like they're so easy to read. I literally read the whole series in a week and like I said, I loved it. And so it is one that I wanted to mention, even though like I said, a lot of people do hate it. But it's definitely very bingeable and easy to get into and read super quick. If you didn't know what After is, I feel like everybody does, but if you don't, it was written originally as a Harry Styles fanfiction on Wattpad and was published into an actual book where obviously the names were changed and everything. And so it's basically just about this girl who goes off to college and is kind of like the stereotypical like good girl, and then she meets Hardin, who basically is like Harry, and he's like, you know, got like tattoos and he's always partying and does all this stuff that she's like never done before, and so she ends up hanging out with him a lot. And it's just the whole book series is their relationship basically. The next series that I really loved and flew through was the Seabreeze series by Abbi Glines. This one for me I thought was kind of funny because every time I read a book in this series I was like, okay, this one's my favorite. Like I don't even know if I want to read the next one because it's not going to live up to how good this one was. But I literally did that between every book because I loved every single one of them. It's basically about a group of friends that live in this beach town, and they're all kind of interlinked through the fact that they all hang out at this one kind of bar slash, I don't know if it's really a club. They have a band that performs there, and some of the books are about the band members. And a lot of them are just about the group of friends that goes to this bar to watch them play. And they're in their early 20s. I think some of them are in university, but that's not like a central topic of the story. But they are university age, if that's something you're looking for. I think most of the books take place in the summer, which is why school isn't really mentioned so much. But again, this one was a really good series that I really loved to read and got through super quickly. Next is the Off-Campus slash Briar U series by Elle Kennedy. This one I'm actually not finished. I'm currently reading The Goal, which is the fourth book in Off-Campus, and then Briar U is like the spin-off, which I'm really excited for. I'm about halfway through The Goal. I'm hoping to finish it today, but because the first 4 books were so good, I feel confident in recommending Briar U as well because I feel like they're all going to be very similar. There hasn't been one that I haven't liked so far. I really love how Elle Kennedy writes her college books. I feel like they're very realistic to a college student, whereas sometimes you read college romances and you're like, that's not what college is like. But I find that hers are very sort of good at depicting certain parts of college life. This series basically follows the first like 4, like off campus, follows these 4 hockey players that all live together in the same house off campus, and their different relationships in each book. And then Briar U is like sort of the next generation of hockey players that come up behind the first 4. So you already know the next 4, like I already know what the 4 books are going to be about, even though I haven't gotten to Briar U yet. Next is the Field Party series by Abbi Glines. This is a YA series, it takes place in high school. It follows the football team from the high school basically, and I love this series because I love like small town kind of vibes in a book, and this one is all like literally like field parties and like pickup trucks, and I'm just like there for all of that. And so that's one that I personally really like, and I'm really excited because there's 5 books in the series out right now, and there's a 6th one coming out in August, which I'm like super excited about. And for some reason I thought that was going to be the last book, but I was actually on GoodReads a couple days ago, and Abbi Glines had answered a question from someone about the series and said there's actually 9 books in the series, so I'm super excited about that. And so that's obviously a series that's going to be very long. Like I said, it's not all out yet, but it is going to be one that you could binge read if you had them all in the future. The next series is, I'm not really sure what it's called. I've been calling it the Bromance series. I'm not actually sure if that's like the official title, but by Lyssa K. Adams. And these books are, I feel like, pretty well known. Everyone knows the Bromance book club. It's basically about a guy whose wife wants a divorce and he wants to save his marriage, so his friends sort of help him by letting him join this like book club with all these guys in town. They're not all, the main guy in that book is a baseball player, but they're not all baseball players. Like, one's a hockey player, one's a business owner. Like, they're all like different sort of guys that just all hang out together. And there's 3 books out right now. And for me personally, I think each book gets better. I think the first one was actually my least favorite, and then the second one, my second favorite, and the third one that just came out last year, I think, was my very favorite so far. I mean, I don't really know how many books there are going to be in this series. I haven't looked into it that deeply. I do know number 4 is coming out pretty soon, called Isn't It Bromantic, in the summer, I think, sometime. And once the first book is over, it does kind of steer away a little bit from the intense focus on the book club, which I appreciated. I don't think I could have read multiple books where they were all just kind of comparing the books to their relationships, but they do get a little bit different. The second one is enemies to lovers, the third one is friends to lovers. Don't know what the fourth one's going to be because I haven't read it yet, but they're all sort of different guys in the book club and their relationships, which is really interesting. Next is the Fallaway series by Penelope Douglas, and I feel like nobody talks about this. Everyone talks about Bully, and that's it, but it's actually part of a series, and I personally think the second book was just as good as Bully, if not better. And so if you're like someone who liked Bully and didn't know there was a remainder of a series, there is, I think, 3 more books. One of them, though, is just Bully and Jared's perspective, but it's a super, like, enemies to lovers. I'm not sure about the third book because I'm still waiting to read it currently, but the first 2 are really, really good. I flew through them so fast, and I'm sure I'm going to fly through the third one as well, because there's just, Penelope Douglas is really good with, like, having drama that's not, like, high school level drama, even though they're in high school. So I think that's something that's really cool. Next is the Pucked series by Helena Hunting. I love this series. If you liked Off Campus, I feel like this one is sort of like an older Off Campus almost. Like, they're all professional NHL players, so they're not in college. They're a little bit older, but they are still kind of, I would say, new adult. Like, I think most of them are in their early 20s. I don't think anyone's sort of like broaching on 30, but it's a lot more, I guess, graphic, if I had to use a word, than Off Campus is. But it's very similar, like I said, hockey players and their interests. There's a lot of books in this series. I'm not actually sure how many there are. I've read almost all of them except for the last 2, which I'm on hold for at my library, so I will read those when they come out. But this one's another one that you could just fly through so quickly. I know I went through them super, super fast. And again, hockey players, so if you liked Off Campus, you'll like this one. Next is the DIMILY series by Estelle Maskame. I'm hoping I'm saying that last name right. This one I'm including if you're younger. I think you'll like this. I just finished this last week and personally didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but I think it was because I am older. I think if you were in high school, you'd really like this series. For me, I just felt like at some points when they were like 19 and 20 that some of the stuff they were doing was still very like high school. And sort of being someone who's like 23, reading that, I was like, okay, like, I feel like we're not giving the 19-year-olds enough credit here. And I think that comes down to the fact that afterwards I found out that she was 16 when she wrote the book, so I think that sort of explains the sort of disconnect there. But again, if you're in high school, you'd probably really, really like this series about a girl who decides to spend the summer with her dad and ends up falling for her stepbrother. And the whole book is, or the whole series is just about them. It's not like one where there's different couples in each book. It's the whole series focuses on them. One book is each summer, so they sort of skip the school years and just follow their relationship over 3 years. And so again, like I said, if you're in high school, this one's one that you'll probably really like. Next is the Rosemary Beach series by Abbi Glines. This series has so many books. I think there's 14 or 15 of them. I loved every single one. It's very similar to Seabreeze, where it follows a group of friends in this town, although it's more so following the children of a famous rock band, I guess, that live in this town. And all of their different relationships. The last two were like a lot kind of different than the rest of them. But they're very similar to Seabreeze. If you like those, you'd probably like these. Again, young adult. Not young adult, but like new adult, I guess. They're like college age. So again, another series that's super long and you could totally get into and fly through them. So those are all my recommendations for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you next Sunday.